Okay, it works. So today we're gonna discuss a sutta called Pajjota Sutta. So Pajjota means it's not just a light, source of light. So I will put a topic this way: what's the source of light? The wakeful one. These are the contents inside the stanza. So I will put this way: what's the source of light? The wakeful one, the colleagues living by work, the nurtures, and what sustained creature's life according to the Pajjota Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 180. Okay, so here is how the stanzas can be seen in the text. First, there are two questions and then two answers by the Buddha. Kinsu lokasming pajjoto, kinsu lokasming jagaro, kinsu kammena sajivanang, kimasa irya pato. What's the source of light in the world? What in the world is the wakeful one? What are the colleagues of those living by work? What is one's cause of movement? And another question followed by Kinsu alasang analasancha mata puttang posati kinsu bhutu pajivanti ye pana pataving sitati. The meaning in English: what nurtures both the slack, that means this lazy person, slack and active, just as a mother nurtures her child. The creatures who dwell on the earth, by what do they sustain their life? So these were the answers by the Buddha. Panya lokasming pajjoto, sati lokasming jagaru, gavo kamme sajivanang, sivasa iryapato. Wisdom is the source of light in the world. So it's not the physical light, it's the wisdom that we try to develop and then gradually get in a perspective. Mindfulness in the world is the wakeful one. So mindfulness is a pretty good thing to talk about. Mindfulness in the world is the wakeful one. So there is no other thing or way to keep us awake except mindfulness. Cattle are the colleagues of those living by work. And Buddha talks to people who were farmers, right? So they were the good colleagues at that time. The cattle. One's cause of movement is the furrow. The furrow is a kind of a tool. It's used for planting seeds for irrigation in those fields. A long, narrow trench made in the ground by a plow. It's like kind of a tool. Plow is a tool, and then furrow is what the farmers make on the ground for their cultivation of the crops. So when you have that, that's where you're gonna work on. If you are a farmer, you work on your crops through those lines on the ground. So you can the farmers use a plow for making the land those furrows. And then rain nurtures both the slack and white. So the rain nurtures both the slack and active, just as a mother nurtures her child. So rain has no no condition, right? I'm not giving you water to this side of the world, this side of the rain has no prop. So rain is like giving it's everything without any condition, like a mother, right? Mother has no condition whatsoever in terms of nurturing her child. Most of the mothers, there may be some exceptions in every field, right? Those creatures who dwell on the earth, including us, sustain their life by rain. Yes, so we depend on rain, right? Water. Okay, so this is what were the answers, but we have to look into a few things in these verses. Wisdom is the source of light in the world. Okay, now we know there's light in here as well, but the light that Buddha talks about is this, light of wisdom. So the more you dispel the darkness of ignorance, like when you are not stuck into sensual pleasures, when you are not stuck into unnecessary hopes, wishes, you are pretty good. I mean, then you are trying to see the light through the ignorance of pleasures, right? Buddha never said pleasures are always bad. Everybody has a choice of having pleasures, but not to get stuck in the pleasures. A lot of people, they don't know where to stop, where to end up, right? So if we have less, wishes and hopes and, pleasures, such things, then it's pretty easy for us to understand what is this pleasure like, what is this need, what is this want like, what is this wish like, what is this hope like, expectation like. Then we have time to think about. Now when we expect, wish things in our normal life, we build up, pile up one by one every day. This is there, tomorrow this, the other day this. So we're building up, piling up a lot of bunch of expectations. Sometimes they are not necessary. Sometimes they are necessary, but most of the time we have a lot of wants more than needs. So Buddha says, if you take some time, slow down a little bit, then you can be wise. When you slow down in a better way, not like you're becoming lazy. When you take time, you can see things in a better way. I remember one of my friends told me that this person was stopped by a police officer when he was driving, over the limit. And then when the police officer asked a question about his speed, he said, you know what, when I got to see the beauty and the scenery of the road on the both sides, so I didn't know, I forgot about the speed. And then the police officer gave a ticket, and at the same time she said to my friend, you know what, drive slow, then you can see the beauty better than how you drive. When you speed, you don't see the beauty. Take time, you can see the beauty, the both side, maybe everywhere, right? So the same thing, right, in our life, when we slow down a little bit, we can see, we get to see everything in a better way. Okay. So the wisdom, it is one way. Slowing down in a better way can help us get wisdom. And what about the wisdom we already have? Do we improve our wisdom? That's another thing. So that means, are we always get caught up in unnecessary things? So we need to work on. That's why the second thing talks about deals with the wakeful one. What in the world is the wakeful one? Mindfulness in the world is the wakeful one. So I don't think there is any other tool that we can keep us awake. When we sleep, we have no control over what's happening to our subconscious mind. But when we are awake, so this is the best thing to keep us awake. Mindfulness. We know where we are, what we're doing, when to start, where to go. I mean, unless we are not, mindful, right? So if we are mindful, we know everything, like not too much, but we know everything: time, space, location, future. We can have a good plan. So that's the best wakeful one. It's not a coffee. It's not a stimulative thing. Sometimes we think we can be awake simply because of a coffee. It's the mindfulness, right? Not those stimulants. And like for the farmers, the best colleagues are cattle, because they are with them in the paddy fields. And furrow means, and those farmers who want to cultivate their cultivative lands, then they can make furrows with plow, so that they can go on that particular course of line for their cultivation of the crops. So, and what about the rain? Rain has no condition. That's something we can learn in our life too, right? When we want to do a good thing, I think we always bring up conditions. Why I want to do that? It's not my thing. It's not this thing. I shouldn't have. Sometimes there are things we have to be careful like that. We have to think twice. Do I put my finger in those unnecessary things? But sometimes we might take it to a point where we become very selfish. We never think about, care about other people, right? So be the rain. The rain gives benefits to everybody, every being in the universe. So that's kind of a good thing. Like a mother, right? So mother has no condition for her child, and all the beings, like including humans, we all depend on the rain. Technically, we don't see it, but that's what happens if we take a look at the food and everything, right? The water. So basically, wisdom, mindfulness, and rain. I mean, these are the big type of topics in the sutta. So we need to always look into the source of the light. We know the light is wisdom. I think we talked about the other day, I guess. Light is wisdom, because we need to get out of the darkness of ignorance. But have you ever attempted to look into the real source of the light? It is wisdom, and how we try to become wise, how we maintain our wisdom, how we want to be more wise in the future. So all these include in the source of this light, which is called wisdom. And mindfulness is a big topic. We know we can be mindful through four aspects. Become mindful based on the body, become mindful based on the feelings, become mindful based on the thoughts, become mindful based on the the true nature of everything. Sometimes when something bad happens to us, we think a lot, why this happened to me. But at the end, we end up thinking, we are not exclusions, exceptions in terms of the true nature. This happened to him or her, and this will happen to me as well. So we're trying to make it like internalize and the reality. But it is also a place where we can be mindful. So mindfulness based on the body which includes the breath meditation, which we do all the Mondays, and the feelings based on, let's say, it's a big topic these days, pain management. A lot of people take a lot of painkillers, right? But Buddha says, if you really look into the pain without connecting the pain and you, deconstructing the pain. Let's say I have a pain in my knee. I know it's painful if I have it. But if I look into my pain by thinking, it's not my pain. This is a body, and something has happened to my knee. There is a pain. I am disconnecting, myself, from the pain of the knee. Oh, you can tolerate that. You can be with that after that point. If you work on that for some time, yes, you can. So it's a very very beneficial thing for those who are having chronic pain. Mindfulness based on the feelings. What about mindfulness based on the thoughts? Okay, we have a lot of thoughts coming up in us, right? Sometimes it's very, greedy. Sometimes it's very, it's not greedy. Sometimes very angry. Sometimes with loving kindness. Sometimes with wisdom. Sometimes with, I think most of the time, with ignorance. Sometimes our minds, thoughts get concentrated. Sometimes not. So there are different thoughts. So the moment we come up with a thought, are we able to recognize, or have we been able to recognize, this is the type of thought I am having. Now I know what it's all about. Now I know what to do with this. Or the thought has taken us over each time? This is a big question. So the moment the thought arises, do we know, oh, if you can know, this is what, and this is what's going to happen to me, and you practice mindfulness based on each thought, every time. And the last one is about true nature of the universe. So we know true nature of the universe is that everything that is made out of something else has a way of arising and staying for some time, and then the destruction, right? So if we know these three universal characteristics, then we never get really upset. This is the same thing happens to everything. But because we forget about this nature and we think it is not really happening, but one day when it happens, we are really upset, and then we don't even know whether it can be an object for mindfulness. Okay, so wisdom is the source of light, and mindfulness is the most important wakeful one, and be a person who has no conditions when it comes to help, when it comes to do good things. Even when you think about the bad things as well, bad is bad. No matter who is doing that, who has done it. So that could be the way of looking into these things. Okay, so any questions?
It's the wisdom that is the source of the light.
Mm-hmm.
And mindfulness is the most important thing.
Most important wakeful one. I mean, if you are awake, mindfulness is the most helpful wakeful one. I would put it in simple English. I would say each time you are awake, whenever you are awake, use your mindfulness all the time, and that will help you stay awake to the best of what it is.
Okay.
Because sometimes people use a lot of stimulants and other things to keep them awake, right? But mindfulness takes all these things. Because it's wise. When you take stimulants, it's not being wise, just a technical, kind of a food type of thing, right? Beverage type of thing. But when you're mindful, it's both technical and then very wise, and you know what to do, right?
Can you give examples of how to be more mindful? Because I know in generally speaking, driving the car, knowing outside, mindful.
Yeah.
It means not thinking, being in the present, the now, not thinking about the future or the past, but the present time. That's one way to be mindful. And not thinking about just, I don't know. It means being,
I think driving includes other things as well, right? Because you are accelerating, you are, using the steering wheel, and your 360 approach.
Yeah. So you're mindful.
And 3-second rules. I mean, driving rules.
Yeah, you're mindful that your distance between you and the car in front of you.
Yeah, 3 seconds.
So, yeah.
And you are mindful about your rear side. So I feel like it involves a lot of things. Like driving is a very exceptional example, but I would say when you are driving, be in the driving culture and where you are with your car. That's it. You can't think about any, you shouldn't think about, you can actually. There's less chance. Like when you don't drive, you might think a lot of future and past stuff. But when you drive, you have something to work on, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like
focus
on everything with what you are involved. Like it could be the speed, it could be 3 seconds, it could be the distance between your car and the other one, your back and your side, two side, what do you call that? Blind spots, spots, your 360, and also where you are heading. You're just driving, where you heading. Do you take the the right exit?
Yeah.
You know, I think it involves a lot of things. So we
Okay.
cannot like specify. It's just the 360, and whether you're okay. I don't know. I mean, how people talk on Bluetooth devices like
Oh.
in the car. Some people
That's distracted.
distracted driving, right? Some people eat
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes people eat when they don't take their meals at the right time and they get late, running late, and they're gonna have it in the car, right?
Yeah.
So I think disorganized life, right? When people stay disorganized, they're gonna do such things. So in your case, I guess the best thing is to uh, be in the proper driving culture. I think it's a cooperative driving culture on the roads. That's how we're supposed to be. And it's not just one aspect of driving, it's everything related to that driving thing. And then you are really mindful. So in that case, if that is what you take as mindfulness, yes. But in the other in terms of other things, I think could be different. Let's say when you work, you may have to multitask. I think driving is so part of a multitasking thing, right? You have to multitask at the same time. You have to do this, but your focus is sort of one thing, right? So you may have to multitask, but one time, one thing,
Okay.
right? It's what we are on computers. So then we have to be careful with multitasking and unitasking. In most of our work life on the road, we may have to multitask, but it does not mean we are with couple things. We know what to do at the right time. Okay, I know I need to take a right turn, do the signaling and all these things. You don't like check your blinds. Sometimes you don't check. You don't check a lot of things when you just thought you wanna take a right turn, right? You have to decide, and there are steps. You have to follow the steps slowly and gradually, right? So, and when you done your maybe when you exit a highway, you deaccelerate at that point, and that's the thing that you focus that time.
Mm-hmm.
When you merging into the normal road, then that's a different environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So each time you have something to focus on. I would call it mindfulness.
Okay.
So the thing is, I would say if one can stay on to that particular focus at different times in the maneuvers, I think that's what we call you are mindful at the right time.
Okay.
So there's not like stable mindfulness at one thing, but it's about being mindful at all those maneuvers at the right time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's share all the good karmas with the deities and the departed people to wrap this up. May all the good karmas be shared by all the departed relatives. May they be happy and peaceful. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñāteyo. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñāteyo. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñāteyo. May all the good karmas be shared by all the deities who protect and bless all of us. May they be happy and peaceful. May they also bless and protect all of us for good health, long life, and all the good things, prosperity. May they also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha ammihi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammihi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammihi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe sattha anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha cha bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu loka sasanang. Akasattha cha bummattha devanaga mahiddhika Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu desanang Akasattha cha bummatha deva naga mahindika Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu mang paranti. Finally, let's make a great wish. May all the good karmas that we've been accumulating so far help all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silis nichang vadha pachayino Chattaru dhamma vadhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang Ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha Ato nibbana sampatti iminati saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let's bow down 3 times to respect the teachings of the Buddha.